Hey friend, Graham here from recordingrevolution.com. Got a video for you today. We're talking about vocals again, how to fix thin vocals in the mix, how to thicken them up and make them more full and radio ready, as it were. And in today's video, I'm using a song we're actually mixing right now over in my mixing community called Dueling Mixes, where we do fresh multi-tracks delivered to you every month, complete mix breakdowns, giveaways, all kinds of goodies, an amazing community. You can actually get a 14-day free trial of Dueling Mixes right now. Just go to duelingmixes.com and check it out. Come join us. I'll tell you more about that at the end of the video, but for now, let's jump into how to fix these thin vocals and how you can apply it to your own tracks. So the song I've got so far was actually well recorded. It was actually done in Nashville, and I'm really happy with the raw tracks, and I'm happy with how the mix is coming together. I'll take a listen, and then I'll dive into the vocal and show you what the problem was with the vocal and how I thickened it up.
For a sign that may not ever come, I was born with a restless heart and a fever in my lungs. Trouble's done, it's work on me. Maybe I should have known.
So let's dive into these vocals here. Let's get on the hook and let's get the vocals raw without any plugins. Here is what I was given straight out of the box.
I was born with a restless heart and a fever in my lungs. Trouble's done, it's work on me. Maybe I should have known. I'm sinking like a stone.
Great vocal performance. The singer is great. There's some weird tones in this track. And if you've ever recorded your own vocals or your band's vocals, or you have vocals that you're mixing for someone else and you pull it up raw and you listen to it and you hear moments where it kind of hurts your ears a little bit or grates on you a little bit or sounds thin or there's something weird and honky going on, there's some frequency problems that need to be addressed before you can really focus on getting the vocal featured and sticking out in the mix. And there's a couple things you can do. I had to do both of these things on this track in particular. I pulled up a channel strip because it would give me an EQ and it would give me a polarity button for phase issues. And here's the deal is there's a couple things I did here. I didn't do any boosting to thicken this track up. I only did some polarity, some phase stuff, and some subtractive EQ, where you take away frequencies. Let's break those down. Let me bypass, there's compression on here, EQ, and phase. So here is the vocal raw.
I was born with a restless heart.
Here is one thing I sometimes try on vocals when I'm not sure what's going on, is if you have an EQ or a compressor, a lot of stock EQs or compressors have a button that looks like this. There's a 0 with this diagonal line through it. That is the polarity button, where you can invert the polarity. You can flip the audio wave 180 degrees out of phase or back in phase, depending on where it is. I say flip the phase by just hitting this button. Technically, it's the polarity that you're inverting. And what this does is just take your audio, if we were to zoom in here, on the lead vocal. Say you've got waves going up and down, up and down, up and down. All audio waves go up and down to some degree. When you flip that phase button, it literally inverts this. So where this is going up and then down, it would start by going down and then up. In theory, this should sound the same whether it's inverted or not. It's really more about how phase is related to other tracks capturing the same audio. More on that in another video. We've talked about this before, but sometimes I have noticed, and I learned this from my good friend Jakir King, that even flipping the phase or inverting the polarity of just a vocal by itself in solo, sometimes the vocal sounds fuller and better with the phase flipped, even though it's not a multi-mic situation. So in this case, where I've got, let me make sure I got this selected again, where I've got the hook of the song, In this case here, you can listen to the vocals slightly filling out a bit when I just flip the phase. Here we go.
I was born with a restless heart and a fever in my lungs. Trouble's done its work on me. Maybe I should have known. I'm sinking like a...
This is super subtle, but you'll notice a difference if you listen closely or on good headphones, or make sure you got this video in full HD. When I flip the polarity here, the vocal sounds a little more up front and a little fuller, a little more natural to me. So step one for you is, if you got a thin vocal, is where I'm getting, find that polarity button. You know, in Pro Tools, there's a basic EQ plugin. Let me grab it here. The Avid EQ3 or 1 or any of them. Here's the button right here. Boom, boom. The compressors have it. A lot of stock plugins have it. So your plugins are going to have it somewhere. One plugin will have it. So grab that, flip the phase, and go on or off, on or off. It's very simple. Which is better? It's like when you're at the optometrist getting your eyes checked and they put different lenses in front of your eyes and they say better or worse, better or worse. That's all this is. It's beautiful. It's either worse or better or the same, and then you just leave it the way it was and it makes no difference. So I flipped the phase. I thought that helped it out a bit. Secondly, I did 2 EQ cuts, technically 3. There's a high pass filter here where I rolled off some low end, but that was because I felt like there was some just low end that needed to be cleaned up anyway. But the biggest issues here for me were around 600 hertz and around 2.3K, where I felt there was weird frequencies that were making the vocal sound thinner and more narrow than it needed to be. So I scooped those out by 3 and 6 dB respectively. And when I turn on this EQ, you can hear how the vocal cleans up.
I was born with a restless heart and a fever in my lungs. Trouble's done its work on me. Maybe I should have known.
And the vocal to me sounds fuller and thicker when I turn the EQ on, but these are 3 cuts. There's no boosting happening. These 3 cuts are getting rid of frequencies that were masking or covering up the good part of his vocal. And then it's allowing the speaker to produce the rest of his frequency response with more energy, because now it's not sucked up just for those other nasty frequencies. So subtractive EQ can really actually make something sound fuller or bigger. You don't have to boost to get a fuller sound. You can subtract the nasty stuff to get that fuller sound. So that was step 2 for sure. And then I had a little bit of compression here to take that cleaned up signal, making sure the compression is last in my chain by making sure the dynamics is going out to my channel strip out and not at the beginning of the chain. Now I have a more cleaned up, phase inverted vocal that I can then compress, and it sounds a lot better. Here we are when I have it all together.
I was born with a restless heart and a fever in my lungs. Trouble's done its work on me. Maybe I should have known.
Sounds more natural, sounds fuller, sounds cleaner, sounds a little bit more alive with 3 EQ cuts and the phase invert. Now, a couple of little things you can do from there is I'm doing some stacked compression, which I showed you in a previous video on my 3 plugin vocal chain for pro vocals. So I'm just compressing this already cleaned up track a bit more.
I was born with a restless heart.
And if you really need to thicken something up a little bit more on the vocal, reach for some kind of tape saturation or console emulation or preamp saturation plugin. One I've been playing with actually from Steven Slate is his tube collection, his virtual tube collection. This is like just running your audio through tubes. And so there's 3 different tube plugins that he's got. I'm playing around with the New York style one on this vocal in particular, and it's adding some harmonics to kind of thicken the vocal and make it a little bit more alive.
I was born with a restless heart and a fever in my lungs. Trouble's done.
It's really, really a nice touch to the already cleaned up with EQ and phase vocal. So let's pull it all away and you can hear where we came from.
I was born with a restless heart and a fever in my lungs. Trouble's done its work on me. Maybe I should have known. I'm sinking like a
much, much better. So there you have it. That's how you can thicken up a thin vocal in the mix using phase, EQ, and then a little bit of saturation and compression to take that cleaned up track a little bit further. Now, like I said at the beginning of the video, the song we're mixing here is a really, really fun tune. It's something we're mixing right now this month inside of my monthly mixing community called Dueling Mixes. The Dueling Mixes has been around for years and years, and what we do with our members is give them fresh multi-tracks every month to practice on. So you get well-recorded tracks of all kinds of genres. We're doing country right now. We've done rock, hip-hop, rap, singer-songwriter. We give you multi-tracks so you can pull them into your DAW and practice on. You get custom tutorials from me and my buddy Joe Gilder, so you get two different engineers' take on the song. That's the dueling aspect of it. Instead of just seeing how Graham's going to mix the song, see how the song sounds when Graham mixes it and when Joe mixes it, and then you can go mix it your own way, and you'll know what is possible with the same set of multi-tracks. Because I think a lot of people think, oh, well, you got better tracks. Well, what if we all started with the same tracks? Where would we end up? So you get those tutorials from both of us where we do complete mix breakdowns of what we're using, how we're using it, how we're facing challenges, how we're doing what we're doing inside of our DAWs. Then you also get free gear. We give away free gear every month. We do random drawings just for completing mixes. It's that simple, free gear, as well as the most supportive community on planet Earth when it comes to audio. This is what makes Dueling Mixes so great, is the community that you get to be a part of, getting your mixes reviewed by other members, helping each other out, recommending techniques and gear, sharing cool things you're finding, encouraging one another, motivating each other to actually complete your mix. We get all of that happening every single month. And I want to give you a free trial for 14 days so you can check it out and see if it's something you want to be a part of. I think you'll love it. It's called Dueling Mixes, and you can check it out at duelingmixes.com. Link here in the video and in the description box. Just simple. Sign up for 14 days. Try it out on my dime. If you don't like it, just cancel. No big deal. If you love it, come hang out with us every single month. You will get better because you'll be mixing month after month after month with the training. Live coaching, by the way. I forgot to mention that. We do live coaching every single month with our members. And you're going to get a chance to win free gear, the supportive community, and it's all available at a super low monthly price after the 14-day free trial. So check it out at duelingmixes.com. I hope to see you inside the members area. We're having a ball right now mixing this song, and more tracks coming every single month. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you subscribing to this channel. If you haven't already done so, hit that button. Thanks for any likes and comments. I'm going to see you on another video real soon, my friend.